hey, what if I have this system that can do the radio show from my home and I can send you my voice work. This is before MP3, before the things that we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of you paying an employee on all the islands, you just pay me. And I want X amount of dollars. And he said without blinking, yeah. And I walked away with, I should have asked for more money. But I started doing radio out of my home just like this. So like, you know, I believe in this.
Before like big internet and everything.
Yeah.
Before the podcast, before iHeartRadio.
Yeah, so if you look online and you hit Augie Radio from home, you'll see it. I was in a room and my wife was my sidekick. My friend Timmy, who lived down the road, was like another sidekick. And we would just have fun. And I had one 1-800 line and people would call me. I would take calls from, you know, every island. They just didn't know how to sell it at that time. And now look at how it's evolved. You know, so I'm a firm believer in what we're doing right now in reaching the world because, you know, I got a little taste of it. I just never stick with it. And, you know, life throws all kind of curveballs at you. And, you know, I just learned how to, you know, slip and move.
Hey, buddy, you're hitting a bunch of those curveballs, man. Welcome to Hawaii Real, everybody. We have with us Augie T. No introduction necessary. You all know who he is. He's a famous comedian here in Hawaii. And now you're running for a city council for District 9. District 9, if you don't know, is Ewa Beach, Waipahu, Mililani.
Waikele.
And Waikele.
Kunia.
Waipio.
It's like over 125,000 residents.
Oh.
Over 50,000 registered voters. And over 30,000 homes.
That's a little bit.
Well, you know, I started the campaign last August because I felt that it was important because, yeah, you might have name recognition, but it's a double-edged sword. And I wanted people to really take me serious. I mean, for almost 10 years, they saw me on TV eating people's food. You know, I've been in the community for 28 years and I've done some cool stuff. Never really talked about it because I really feel like you don't have to boast when you're doing good things.
Right.
And I just felt like it was time for me to serve after 28 years. People gave me so much, sent my kids to school, gave me a pretty cool and decent life. And at 52, now that the kids are all adults and they all learn how to have thick skin because they were bullied in school, because everybody taught that, you know, dad made decent amount of money, everything gets handed to them. No, man, my kids bust their ass to find their own identity. And that's what I'm proud about. Mm-hmm. I'm proud most that the kids, you know, took the key and they drove the car. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. You want opportunities. And, you know, after 28 years, I'm 52. After 28 years of, you know, performing, making people smile, I just felt like it was time for me to give back. And the last, you know, 5 years have really helped me be solid on that decision because, you know, my daughter started a foundation, Brave Hawaii, my daughter Mahealani, and, you know, started going to schools. And I grew up extremely poor in Kalihi Valley.
Yeah, because you're Camp 4 Housing. Mm-hmm. Now, yeah, I mean, I patrolled Camp 4 Housing years ago for about 8 years. Oh, were you a Kalena Drive boy or Kalaunu?
Kalena.
Kalena Drive?
2141
G
Kalena Drive. Building 1. And when I said I was like at a very young age, and I was telling you prior to this, we getting on mic, there's a lot of people that inspired me, yeah? And I knew that I was going to do something in life. Mm. So to make that solid, in the windowsill of 2141 G Kalena Drive, I don't know if it's still there because they did renovation.
Yeah.
I got the screwdriver and when they gave my name because I wanted to let the people concrete? Know, yeah, whoever was living there, that I lived in that house.
That's probably still there. I don't think they renovated. They didn't do anything much with the concrete, I don't think.
Yeah, so once in a while when I'm driving by and I take my kids, they don't want to hear the story. But like, you know, I sat on those poles with my friends and we dreamt about doing amazing things. And the last 5 years, doing the school programs, working with the mayor on the Big Island, Mayor Billy Kinoy, Lieutenant Governor Shan Tsui, and being around my daughter who said, you challenge kids to step outside the box, you challenge teachers, you challenge communities. Why don't you run?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you do something really out of the box?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had an interest, but wasn't really ready. I enjoyed making people laugh. And that's why when people say, more experience, I almost laugh at that because what is that?
Right.
What is that?
Political experience, because you have a crap ton of life experience, right? I mean, you're the success story. You've taken yourself from public housing. And if anybody doesn't know where Cam 4 housing is, it's the housing complex off of Leaky Leaky Highway in the Kalihi side. And you've become a success story by your own bootstraps. You've lifted yourself up and used your talents to make yourself a living, you know?
And I was around good people, people that challenged me, people that inspired me. And, because I grew up in a house of, 5 brothers, and we all came from the same house. We all took different paths in life. But, when people blame the community and people blame other people and they point their finger, it's so easy for me to look back. And if you look at all the stats, because people love showing stats. I should have been in jail. I should have been dead. I should have been an alcoholic. But that's the kind of stuff that, we hear and see, and easy for a kid growing up in a community to go, ooh, that's what I'm going to become. And yeah, I seen that. But we also have people that see good. You know what I mean? And I was so blessed to be endorsed by, Shopo. And, even now, being endorsed by Shopo, I get people on the internet going, be on the wrong side of history. I'm going, man, you know what? I understand get good cops. I understand get bad cops. But I'm going to tell you my experience. I was around inspiring cops that challenged me, that did good in the community. And that's what I see. You know what I mean? You cannot blame a whole department for a few bad eggs. Everywhere you go, every job that you do, you get those people. You cannot run away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's bad doctors, there's bad plumbers, there's bad everything, right? Yeah.
Everything. And the thing is, you guys are in the spotlight all the time. You guys protect and serve. And the sad thing is that when 102, it's loud.
Yeah. Magnifies everything.
But, it's like that in your workplace every single day. The group of friends that you hang around with. So, I was inspired by many people and thankful for that life I got, because it taught me valuable lessons. It taught me valuable lessons of giving and serving and looking at people, not for what they are, but looking really inside and listening and asking questions, finding what their heart is really about, because it was easy for me to be judged. And I got judged all my life, coming from there, being dyslexic, I'm ADHD.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I never would have known that you were dyslexic at all.
Yeah, I still have challenges with that. That's why, I stop short of my process sometimes, because I'm thinking so way ahead. And, when I'm looking at words, I got to slow down. The last 28 years of, doing movies and commercials, I asked the casting director, can you give me the script the day before so that I can take a look and be familiarized with it? Because once I understand the essence, it's a little bit easier for me. But it's always been challenging. I've always had people say, no, you cannot do it. I had more of that. And because I was around inspiring people that pushed, I let that just kind of roll off my shoulders when people said no. And it burned the fire under my alcohol to go, let me prove to you that you can.
Yeah.
And not to be vengeful, but was more of believing in yourself, understanding that, you know, you work hard enough, you can overcome and achieve amazing things, you know?
Would you be where you are if you didn't have the naysayers?
Yeah, honestly, you know, people like to say no, but I'm just that guy. You know, I have good people around me. I surround myself with good people, and the naysayers, they just, you know, they light a fire. That's it. But like, I don't. When I see people attack, I just delete. That's the beautiful thing about now, right? You just delete them.
Yeah.
You know, and people coming, if they have the nerve to come up and tell you in your face, you listen and you don't respond back. You just kind of, okay, that's your opinion. You know, but are you open and willing enough to listen to what I have to say? And that's the problem we have in this world. It's so black and white now. There's no rational thinkers, you know, there's no, you cannot sit down.
Yeah, become very polarized, yeah.
Right, you cannot have a conversation. It's so weird that when you go door to door and people ask you, what are you, Republican or Democrat? I go, I'm local. How's that?
Yes, that's a good answer. I like that.
You know what I mean? Because I can work with both sides. I'm running as a nonpartisan. Like, I like some of the things that Republicans do. I love some of the things that the Democrats do. But why do we have to have a disagreement on everyday life? You know what I mean? It's like so weird to me. And, you know, it's so encouraging when you can have a real good conversation, you know, agree to disagree, because you learn, you learn something, you know, you might not be swayed, but at least you had the audacity to listen and take away something from it. Or you can be mad, whatever, you know. At the end of the day, I'm sleeping and I'm going, I did the best I could today.
Yeah.
I am happy with Augie. I'm good. I have a good family. I have an encouraging family. I have a family that's 100% behind me. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, you know?
Is there any politician historically, currently, that you find inspiration from?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that question.
Because when I see you running and I hear about what you're doing, one person comes to mind, Ronald Reagan. You know, and he's been known as the great communicator.
Right.
And his second term was a landslide.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, I, of course, was super inspired. You know, I really never got into politics that much. I love listening to John F. Kennedy speak. And of course, Reagan, definitely. I was inspired by Obama. You know, I like a little of Trump, believe it or not. I don't, you know, some of the things that he say I don't like, but I mean, you cannot disrespect a person who's doing what he said he was going to do. And it's so hard nowadays, right, to find people like that. And I go, man, at some point, where have we lost respect? You know, and I know respect comes from the top, but like, you as a person, you have to step back a little bit and go, that's somebody of authority. I gotta respect that person. I might not like them, but I gotta respect that person. You know, what is it? How is any politician stopping you from having a good sleep at night?
yeah.
You know, what are they doing? They're prowling on you like, you're so hateful.
Yeah. It's like
You know what I mean?
our
Like,
lives haven't changed that
correct.
much, right?
Why don't you step up? You know, when people do those things and they get mad and they yell and they scream, I almost like tell them, hey, why you don't step up and do them then?
Yeah.
Because everybody has amazing ideas, amazing answers. Then go do them. You know what I mean? Why are you waiting for somebody to make a mistake? Why are you willing to look at all the wrongs? You know what I mean? How does that make your life better? And that's where, for me, like, this whole process has made me a better person, honestly. You know, I'm coming into this bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you know what I mean? And I said last night at a party that, you know, for 28 years I've had to talk, and it's weird to be the guy that now has to listen, you know, and that has brought me great value. And I got to kick and scream sometimes because, you know, I've been my own man, you know, paving my own road for 28 years. Now this is different, you know. I got to learn how to do this job quickly. And I got to learn how to adapt. And I have to learn how to become something that's new to me, so that people who on the fence will see that Augie's more than just a comic. People don't like me, not gonna vote for me. You know what I mean? I hope maybe along the line I can win them over, but you're not going. You know what I mean? I'm trying to talk to the everyday guy that struggle, that loves a community, that wants a better life in Hawaii. That's who I like to talk to. That's sitting on the fence and go, I can relate to that guy. You know, so I'm learning so much about Augie as a person, and you can't teach old dogs new tricks. For 28 years, I've been able to sneak in messages that I truly believe in, where it's funny, but then people go, oh, that made sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
are you going to bring comedy to politics?
I'm going to be Augie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I've never felt like that was a performance on stage. I caught on early on in my career that I was a great storyteller. And I'm an observer. I love to watch people. I tell people I'm like a mirror of society. I see the things. If it makes me laugh, I'm going to talk about it. So get plenty of people that go, I'll let me on comic because I can make people laugh. If you can do that, like how you do in your family settings, and you can say and be that person on stage, then you might make it. It's finding your voice. You know what I mean? And for me, I just told stories. People go, how come you don't talk about Japanese people? Well, I really never have Japanese friends.
Not too many Japanese that can afford housing.
Right. Samoans, Filipinos, local guys, you know, funny family gatherings. I told stories. And if I saw something that was so outrageous, I put, what would a local guy do if he was in that situation? Like when I used to watch early UFO documentaries, and you'd hear a guy from the Midwest go, I was driving down the desert, and all of a sudden, I saw this light, right? And it's so convincing. He crying, light came down, took me up on board the UFO, and I used to think, wow, it's so funny. Can you imagine if a local guy had the opportunity and saw something and he was on TV? And that's what I did. I put a local brother that's super innocent. And that's what I love about our culture, the people. You know what I mean? We're from Hawaii. And one local guy can identify with one other local guy. Not even your, I don't have to be Hawaiian, Filipino. Get Filipino guys that go, hey, I was at one road the other day, right? And they talk and they sound like us. Doesn't matter what race, right? And I used to always put those guys in that situation. And that's how I did it. So I would watch shows like that. I go, what if a local guy was that guy? We was at home watching this guy go, bro, I was driving by Kaena Point. All of a sudden, I look up, I saw a light. I don't care what anybody says. People at home are gonna be like, I bet you is smoking buckle. You know what I mean? And that's the funny inside of it. You know, and that's why I love doing it, because I always try to put local people in those funny situations, because we always had an uncle that said funny things. You know, my first DVD, I was in Walmart and this local brother choked tattoos on his face, on his neck. He looked at me and Augie T, and I was like, oh, big guy, right? Bah, I tell you something. I want you to tell me. He goes, bro, your DVD, bro, and really inspired me, made me laugh during hard times. Because me, I was incinerated for like 4 years. And you know, and I get it. With local brothers like use big words, because I'm that guy too. And I always felt like that's not funny, that's innocent. And people laugh at that because we know that guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's been fun, because it was not about teasing. It was about recognizing who we are. We can take a joke. We like to laugh. And it brought some sort of healing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, when you get guys come up to you in the 28 years and say, I had one guy that came up to me in the Don Quixote in White Power, looked me in the eye and said, I wanted to kill my son because he was gay. But I saw your DVD and I went, wow. And he hugged me. And that's the kind of stories that inspired me to continue to do what I did. And there's so many stories like that. You know, I would go to Seattle and do comedy every year. And one girl that went to school there died in a DUI incident. A DUI driver banged. She was from Hawaii. And she would always tell her parents that she went to the Augie T show when I came to Seattle. And then one year the parents came just to honor her memory. And she told me the story, and it really broke me down because, you know, you do this so much weekly that you don't know how much it affects somebody. You know, and when you hear that kind of stories, you just kind of go, wow. I was about to this planet to make people laugh. I'm doing more than that.
You're touching hearts.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's why, like, I'm taking this serious because, you know, you go into neighborhoods and you hear the same exact story. You know, I love in my community. Been there for over 20 something years. I lived in Kalihi for 16 years of my life, then YNI for 10, and now I live in Ever for the last, you know, 20 something years. And I love my community. I love the district. 28 years, I did some good. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't have to tell people that I've sent kids to school and did shows to help churches, schools, programs, you know, develop my daughter's Brave Hawaii program so that she can inspire other kids to speak up, you know. So it's, you know, it's a different kind of a passion for me, you know, and it's really, really a passion to want to help and be the voice of people who think that, I think people forgot about us here on the West Side.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like going into politics. You have to want to help, and in some respect, you have to be unsatisfied with what's going on currently to run for politics, especially in this day and age with the internet and stuff like that. Your face is going to be all over. Well, for you, that's okay because your face was all over already and your voice. So people know you. But it's going to help you grow, and I think with your influence, you're going to help a slew of other people grow.
Well, you know, one of the things that I really thought about is how many kids maybe might be inspired to see, hey, if this guy can do it, you know, I can. You know, and there's so much smart local kids that's relatable, they go get them, right? That attitude and like, we can make a difference. And that's who I hope that, you know, they can look at that and go, hey, Uncle can do it. Sorry, it's so funny when, you know, I go online and I see young kids doing some of my bits.
Oh.
You know, people ask me, like, how come you don't do that online? I go, because I'm 52 years old.
Oh. The Samoan president, that was...
You know how old that was, like, my earliest joke.
It's as relevant like, today as it was then.
You know, it's like what I was saying, right? I looked at all the nationalities, just that the Samoan president is the one that hit. I did a Filipino president, President Makadang Dang. You know, and it was during the time where I did President Ulufale. I did President Manny Mendoza. So I did all these different nationality of presidents. And Supasole Suka, who was a character that became President Ulufale, took off. But like I love doing President Makadang Dang, because he was like, oh, thank you so much for voting for me. You know that Filipinos, we work hard, and that we come with action. That's why you vote. First thing I will do as the President of the United States is get rid of groundskeeping because I cut my own grass. And because, the White House, lots of room, I will open it up. I take Section 8 if you want to rent. And, that's the kind of stuff that made me laugh, right? And then the first Portuguese president would be, like at the press conference or at his inauguration speech, people would be telling him, get off already. Because he'd be like, my family came from Portugal in 1822. They came to Hawaii. And they said that they became lunas in the cane fields. And then my grandparents, President Mendoza, get off. Shut up, you don't tell me nothing. I'm the president. If I like talk, I can talk all day. You guys don't understand the trials and tribulations that I've, So that's the kind of stuff that's super relatable to me that I remember seeing uncles who speak that way. I'm Filipino, right? I had Filipino uncles. My family came from the Philippines in 1916. And I've never been labeled a Filipino comic. And I never like being labeled a Filipino comic. I'm the Hawaii comic because Hawaii, when you look around, it's really the melting pot, right? But I had Filipino uncles that would say the most funniest things, and I would sit there and listen to them for hours. And how I had one Filipino uncle, he thought he was the most handsomest guy in the world. I would watch him comb his hair. I would watch him like lather himself up and look at me like, you see that boy? Huh? That's what the ladies like. And he would hit on every lady before my auntie came from the Philippines because they had to wait, right?
Yeah.
They had the long quarantine before they became citizens to America. They had to wait. They had to go through the process. My Filipino family members had to go through the process before they came to Hawaii. Because my grandparents came from the Philippines in 1916. They had their kids in Hawaii. So my dad, my uncles, and my aunties were all natural born residents of Hawaii before Hawaii became the United States of America. They were born in the Kingdom of Hawaii, and they became naturalized citizens. They had families in the Philippines, but my uncle had to wait. But I used to watch my uncle get ready. He used to hit on all the ladies until my Filipino auntie came. But he used to be like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that, And I was, a little boy, watch these ladies respond to my uncle. He was like, you don't have to look at me. You can close your eyes. What kind of line is that? But I do that now. And people laugh because I saw it. You know what I mean? I don't want to ever talk about stuff that unbelievable.
Yeah. Like, how do you get those impressions, and how did you have to work on that to build all those impressions of people? Because you do them fantastically.
I think being around my friends, like the Samoan Santa Claus was the first time I used a Samoan accent. And I was doing a show out in Laie, and Junior IU, who hired me, I got paid $25 and I was so excited. It's called Concert with the Stars. Nobody knew who I was, and I was doing all these Polynesian jokes. So my very first Samoan joke was about the Samoan Santa Claus at Campfire Housing. Everybody knew who he was, but he was Santa Claus for a day. And he'd be like, Sally, hey, Favave, Sawi, come over here. Come to Santa Claus, hurry up. And we would all stand in the line. And we knew that was the custodian. But he was Santa Claus for that day. But he would be like, hey, Favavi, hurry up, come over here. And that's what I used to listen to growing up, right? And be like, come over here. What is your name? Like, Augie. Augie. No, Santa, Augie. That's what I said, Augie. No, Santa. Augie. Hey, don't yell at me, Augie. I'm going to punch your face, Augie. And you're really going to be ugly. So, that was a joke that we wrote, but that's what they called me. Ugly.
No.
Augie. Augie. But, because of the accent.
Ugly.
Yeah, ugly. No, Augie. Ugly. So, it was a fun, rich, fun environment. It was, rich with, soul and life and, things that will never ever leave me because, that's the root of everything. I've seen it, I've seen it played out. I mean, some of my best friends were mahoos that could fight because I needed them in my corner. You
don't mess with them. Yeah.
Oh, we watched them evolve from Michael to Michelle. And I would call him, Michael, it's Michelle. And they would beat you up. But it was like embedded in a community and was fun. Nobody got hurt because of it because we knew each other, right? And that's the Hawaii that I grew up in, and
we didn't get offended about that kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard to do comedy right now. And I thought maybe, it was part of God's plan that I get into politics or community service on a higher level because I started noticing that people are getting more offended by your views or your thoughts, even though it's a form of entertainment and you have that right as an American, the freedom of speech. Like there's a difference between making people laugh and being hurtful in your speech. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't know how that's getting mixed up. Like we're so sensitive that we cannot even really listen to what that person is saying. We like to judge, point finger, and that's why it's tough. You know what I mean? And, people go, you not worried about some of the bits that, no, man, I've been an open book for 28 years. You find something that might have been edgy or, on the line, go look.
Yeah,
I have nothing to hide.
People can say they're offended about whatever people talk about these days, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, I know you in your heart, in your house, whatever, you laugh at that. You find that funny. You find that truthful. You see that stereotype.
Sure.
It's like, it's funny.
Right.
Don't get offended at that.
I was doing comedy right down the road at Karl Mall. Karl Mall is, run by, Hawaiian Homelands, right? The land.
Mm-hmm.
Kamehameha schools, I think. And early on in my career, they thought, it'd be funny to have a comic who's clean to do comedy at Kahala Mall. One, you don't do comedy in a mall. Because people shopping.
Yeah.
You put musicians, you don't put a comic. Yet, the old Japanese men, they go walk around. Mm-hmm. They're sitting in front. Oh, that's that guy from Cheap Eats. Or people looking at you like luggage at baggage claim. And after doing comedy for almost 28 years, I know what rattles people. But then I also know that people understand the stereotype. So I did this joke that I thought was funny, and I still do think it's funny. I asked, when you're doing a big crowd, you have to talk to the last person, the person that's walking, and I've always been the kind of person that if you don't like what people said, then you move on. Don't sit there and judge somebody. Don't come to a show to just judge and look. Like, leave already. I always do a little discretion before I go on and do my show. Like, if you're easily offended, and if you're going to be critical, maybe you should leave right now. So I know my boundaries. I've worked clean as a comic, never squared on stage. I know the stereotypes. So one of the jokes that I did at Kalama was so funny, and I love this joke because if you're from Hawaii, you understand where the joke going. If you live in a box and you easy to criticize, then you might be offended. But the joke was, you gotta ask questions, and that's how you do it when you working in one mall, because you're not gonna get everybody's attention. You're talking to the 5 people that's focused, but you gotta try to talk to people that's walking. So I go, anybody like Mariah Carey? Mariah Carey fans? Oh, I love Mariah Carey. The only problem with Mariah Carey, she has that high octave range, you know. Attract dogs in my house. You know, that high pitch attract dogs. Every time I play her CD, oh, the neighborhood dogs come to my house. Oh, you know, one day I was sleeping and my Filipino uncle came over, knocked on the door and said, Augusto, because that's my real name. Augusto. He's like, yeah, uncle, can I borrow your Mariah Carey CD? Yeah, that was the joke. That was the joke.
That's so wrong.
Right.
But having worked in Kalihi, that's true.
That was the joke. So this lady, after the show, goes, I know where you're going with it. And it's so racist and so offensive. And I wait, what? I go, what did I say? That my uncle was using a CD for bait?
No, that's in your mind. You said
What if
that.
my uncle just like listening to Mariah Carey? But see, if you understand the culture and you understand what Filipinos was teased about, then you go, I get it. I get it. I go, did I say that my uncle was playing the CD, waiting around the corner so that he can knock the dog out and make adobo? I never said that once.
It was in her mind.
Correct.
She implanted that stereotype.
And that's the reason why we have what we have, because this gotta change, and this gotta change. If you're critical in here and in here, there's no way you're gonna get over it.
Right. It's like if I see something that is stereotypical, but you see it as a stereotype, well, that's your problem. You're seeing it.
And at the same time, those guys are so loud now because of social media. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you have the right to do that and yell and scream. Guess what? I have the right to feel the way I feel. I have the right to do the things that I do. But when we cannot come and sit down and have a conversation, and you're going to be insulting, you're going to be rude, then shame on you. The world will judge you if you love being on social media and you love being loud, of not everybody going to agree to what you're doing, you know, then, hey, good luck. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to hear what you say. But wow, man, you shallow for just attack, you know. And I think 28 years I've built a tough skin in this business because I've had a lot of that. You know, I don't talk about it too much because I think if you bring it to the light, then it's there for everybody to see. You know, I let it go. And that's what I like about social media, because you can just delete. You know, I'm not perfect. You know, I've said things that I maybe might have offended people, but I didn't. I apologize. You know, that's what's so hard with saying sorry and meaning what you say. Like, I'm really sorry. I gotta go rehab because of that now, you know? So, you know, I built a tough skin around comedy, and, you know, I don't want to compromise when it comes to, I think in politics you might have to, but you gotta do the right thing. That's one of the things that I'm learning. Like, if you can do the right thing and you feel good about it, you're gonna be okay, because you're gonna get critics no matter what. Yeah.
Augie, it's been fantastic having you on, man. I was crying over here laughing so much. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, man.
In this coming election.
That time.
All right, everybody. Augie T. Stay happy, Hoy. Jerry, thank you so much, man.